You guys know that we have talked about the concept of, are you depressed? And that is what we've been looking at. Now, I want to say that I do believe one of the reasons, and this may become a very short live, I just wanted to jump on here for a moment, but one of the reasons that people can feel depressed may have to do with running along with everyone. Okay, I'm just going to say briefly that Joe Biden will remain the nominee. And I'm amazed that they can't see that. So one of the things that I want to say is to be careful of just running along with the crowd. Now, I know sometimes there are reasons why people feel pressured. There may be economic reasons that are tied in. I mean, people are trying to keep food on the table, trying to keep, their basics going. And when there's pressure, and it's not just about how people perceive you or this and that, but it's tied back to your income and being able to provide for yourself or your family, it may be more tempting to run along with what the crowd is doing. But I think it's always something to be very, very mindful of. Because in my opinion, and of course these are just our thoughts and opinions, make sure you're old enough to watch the live, and this is not professional advice, always seek a professional. But in my opinion, I don't really see much fruit from running after what the crowd is doing. It's often those who are able to distinguish themselves in thought, in action, who end up showing long-term success, who end up being leaders, able to help others. So that running along with the crowd is something that I think can be very, very detrimental. And I think there's a great reward for those who are able to maintain their own beliefs, when they line up with what's actually right, and maintain their own sense of self and not be intruded upon by others' ideas of what's valuable in society. So sometimes you might watch a show where they have different pundits come on, different experts talking about different topics. And when they bring the expert back, let's say the expert made a prediction a year or two ago, and it's something that it turns out that the expert turns out to be right, but he or she was being laughed at that time, potentially went through to a little bit more than just being laughed at, but they were ostracized, whatever the case may be. But having that foresight, being able to see things, recognize something, imagine things before they take place is extremely valuable. Because then when they talk to that pundit, it's, you had this, how did you know? How did you realize this? And I think that part of it is maintaining a sense of self, really focusing in on what's right and not running after what other people do. I think sometimes you'll see people in very high profile positions and you'll say, how could they have made a mistake like this? How could they have made a decision of this kind? They're so financially successful, so lofty, so well known. How is it that their judgments seem to be so off? And I think what happens is that sometimes when people are thrown up in those circles, there's so much activity, so much going on that they don't realize sometimes the decisions that they're making. And they're getting so many opinions from other people, and rewards are being insinuated, suggested, if they do this or go with this perspective, there's often some kind of reward attached when it is contrary to what you believe. So that's a worldly reward that, in my opinion, is not a true reward. But there always seems to be some kind of an offer when it is desired that you do something that goes against your principles. So it's so important to stay strong on what you believe and know that there are greater rewards for that. Okay, so when we ask, are you depressed? And I can go over 5 things. The first one, are you just running after the crowd? That's something that can be so depressing, so disheartening, because the crowd is often so confused. And so when you're just following that trend, you're getting the results, the dismay, the confusion that the crowd is getting. Another concept that I wanted to talk about was the idea of what you let in. Okay, this kind of relates back to number 1. But I was thinking about that today. Sometimes I like to listen to different programs, even that are contrary to my own beliefs, just because I want to know what other people are thinking. I want to have an open mind. I want to be able to examine things and not just have my own perception, but consider other thought. But there are certain shows where people are positioned in such a way, ideologically, that it really is contrary to simply what's right. And I do wonder about the impact of listening to the radio or listening to a program and having, especially when you're doing other things. Maybe you're doing something around the house, your hands are full, you don't have even a moment to change the channel, whatever the case may be, and you're inculcated with these ideas, and they're contrary to yours. Now, I know you could say, well, you just said don't run with the crowd, consider somebody else's idea. Yeah, but there's some core principles that I think just right from wrong. So if someone is espousing that, somebody did something unscrupulous to somebody they care about, they haven't acknowledged it, and yet somebody's saying that that's okay, just because their ideas align, or they align politically, or they're in an office where they want to be in good, with whoever's in charge. And so they forego adhering to what they know is right. And there are some basics when you know right from wrong. Even something that can be tricky sometimes, because number 3, let's say gossip, and it's a tough one. Sometimes you want to vent, sometimes you want to hear what's going on, sometimes you want to be entertained, but we know that gossip is not a good thing. It's not good for in my opinion, it's not a healthy thing for you. But it can be very difficult. Sometimes after, it can be very difficult, and sometimes there's a fine line. When are you speaking constructively about something that disturbed you, and when are you just talking about somebody in an unkind way? But at the end of the day, like I said for number 2, right from wrong. When you get a sense, And gossip, when we ask the question, are you depressed? Yeah, gossip is one of those things that I believe will really make you depressed. You may say what you say about the person, you may talk about, but afterwards we just don't feel good about it. You get that feeling, it's just not a good feeling. So that would be number 3, avoiding gossip as much as is possible. A number 4 we talked about on other lives, the intake of food. You know, when you take in natural, nutritious, beautiful foods, it has an impact on your thinking, your mind, your physiology. It's not just that reaction, that engagement with your physical body. It really will impact your mind, how you think. And if you're trying to get a job, or you're trying to build your business, or you're trying to work on a relationship, having those positive foods in your system that are so enriching, I truly believe will help you to develop and cultivate the right ideas so that you can address those areas in your life that are challenging and that you want to get beyond. Number 5, be careful who you tell your dreams to. Sometimes there is so much work convincing even those you love and those who love you that of your idea, the efficacy of it, the possibility with it, the potential. It can be really hard trying to convince people about something that isn't yet formed. Even you have questions about it. And so it's difficult for people who don't know what your prayers, your specific prayers have been, and the response you feel you're getting in prayer, and the different experiences that you're having that will sometimes confirm some of the beliefs that you have around a certain project. So yeah, it's challenging, and you want to be careful about how you talk to people about your dreams, who you talk to about your dreams, because that energy that you spend saying, no, this will work, believe me, this will work, and elucidating each point and why you're skilled, and why you're enough, and why your idea will bear fruit, and how you've considered these other aspects and you've mitigated against them, and why you don't want to continue doing the other things in your life. They become mundane to you. They're not enriching to you. But there are going to be many times when those who you talk to about those dreams will not understand. And even in perhaps the majority of the cases where they love you and they want the best for you, it can still be difficult trying to relay ideas that others don't have inside information about. They're not having the same experiences, conversations identical to the ones that you're having. So be careful of that. And here's number 6, a bonus, number 6 and number 7. Number 6, that I was listening to either a podcast or some presentation, and the person talked, I think it might have been the man who wrote 48 Laws of Power, I think. And he was talking about the idea that in all the world, there's no one that shares your precise DNA. There is no exact other you in the world. Even if you're a twin, there is no other exact you with your exact experiences and your exact DNA. And that makes you're already valuable, but that makes you so rare and indescribably valuable. So if you have ideas, you have things that you want to do, be encouraged by the fact that you're here on Earth, getting a chance at this existence, when it was quite a feat to get here, and there's nobody else like you. That's really quite amazing. Even if you go to an institution, a bank, a job, and you're number 348652-1X, it doesn't matter what they call you. You are still extremely rare. The rarest. Nobody is exactly you. So your dreams, your goals, your inclinations that are right and that are in line with goodness and righteousness are worthwhile. And here's number 7. When we ask this question of, are you depressed? If you have a dream, and if it's good, it's right. Because, it does matter. Right and wrong do matter. But, you've prayed about it. It's something you truly believe is right. There are some who believe the very fact that you have that dream in the first place is evidence that it's possible for you to achieve it. And although it can be a complicated discussion, I think that's a fascinating and amazing idea. That the fact that if it's good, if it's something good, truly good, that you have this deep desire with it. Such a deep desire, the very fact that you have that desire so strongly and believe in it so strongly could be evidence that it's something that you're supposed to have. It's something that you're supposed to accomplish. So keep going. Don't allow yourself to be discouraged. There are so many factors, so many things around you, but there's only one of you with your strength, your kindness, your intuitive nature, your possibility, your brain power, your experiences, the love that you have in your heart. So don't forget that. I'm so glad that I could be here with you guys today. Anybody want to say anything? I'll give you a moment if you'd like to. Otherwise, I want to thank you so much. You can go to modelpoetry.com to see more of what we're doing, to see more of the members that we have signed up there. And just know that even if it's challenging right now, it will be worth it to keep going. It is something rare and beautiful to have a dream. So many people have given up on their dreams. So definitely keep going. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.